Hello, all settled? Well, thanks for coming along to this meeting of the Dorset Council for the Licensing and Gambling Act Subcommittee. I'd first like to, no, I've got the wrong bit of paper now. Right, to inform you, my name is Councillor Andrew Starr. I'm a Dorset Councillor for Upton and Litchett. I've been selected as by my colleagues as chair for this committee. My colleague, oh, sorry.
Well, we haven't elected you yet, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we did. Oh, okay.
No, we have to elect them. We elected it for the previous meeting. We haven't elected it
okay,
for this one.
Can we, are you happy for me to still be there? Yes.
I propose Councillor Andrew Starr as chair.
This is not the first committee meeting we've done today. So. Right, so I'd say I'm the chair of this meeting. My fellow councillors could introduce themselves, please.
Push your buttons.
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Councillor Jill Haynes from the Chalk Valleys.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Councillor Cathy Lugg. I'm from Ferndown North.
Can I now ask the officers to introduce themselves, please?
Joshua Kennedy from Democratic Services.
Lewis Wicks, Democratic Services Apprentice.
I'm Catherine Miller, Senior Licensing Officer and Report Author.
Can I ask now the parties and their representatives to introduce themselves, please? Yourself, you're probably aware, but if you just press the button when you've got the red light, then you can talk, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Gareth Burton, and I'm one of the applicants for the new premises licence.
Good afternoon. My name's Amy Burton. I'm Gareth's wife and business partner.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Nigel Shearing, representing Community Group Respect Weymouth.
Hello, I'm Kirsty Gatehouse, Licensing Officer for Dorset Police, covering the Weymouth and Portland area.
Hello, Jane Williams. I'm Environmental Protection Team Leader, and I'm here to support any questions that you might have regarding this application.
I'm Roy McLeod, Technical Officer for Environmental Protection.
Thank you. I'd just say that yeah, we've got most of you okay, but sometimes you've got to get quite close to these mics, okay? Thank you. The procedure of the meeting will be as follows. The licensing officer will outline the application and all parties present will have the opportunity to ask questions about the application. The applicant will then have the opportunity to present their case and all parties will be able to ask questions. The objector present will be able to present their case and all parties will be able to ask them questions. All parties present will have the opportunity to sum up their case at the end. Thank you. So if I can call on the licensing officer, please. Yes, of course, we haven't done that either. The declarations of interest. No declaration, no apologies. Right. The licensing officer then, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is a hearing to consider a new premises licence application for 4 St Edmunds Street, Weymouth. The application is for films indoors, Monday to Friday, 1800 to midnight, and Saturday and Sunday, midday to midnight. Live music indoors, Monday to Sunday, midday to midnight. Recorded music indoors, Monday to Sunday, 8 a.m. till midnight. Alcohol sales for consumption on and off the premises, Monday to Sunday, 0900 to midnight. Recorded music, sorry, I already said that. To clarify on the application form, the applicant had put times under non-standard timings, but did not state what the event these were for. The applicant has confirmed that these are to cover New Year's Eve for live music, recorded music, late night refreshment, and alcohol sales. Although live and recorded music has been applied for, the Live Music Act of 2012 allows that any premises with a licence for consumption of alcohol on the premises can have live amplified music and recorded music between 0800 and 2300 without a licence, providing there are no more than 500 people at the premises. The Live Music Act also states that any conditions relating to any of this entertainment would not have an effect between 8 AM and 11 PM. Dorset Police requested a number of conditions to be added to the licence if it were to be granted, which the applicant has agreed to, and these conditions can be found from the police at Appendix 2. And Environmental and Protection also requested a number of conditions to be added to the licence if it was granted, which the applicant has agreed to also, and these conditions can be found at Appendix 3. There were no other representations received from any of the responsive authorities. There were 4 relevant representations received, 2 from members of the public, 1 from Respect Weymouth and the other from the ward member. The representations were made on the licensing objective of the prevention of public nuisance, prevention of crime and disorder and public safety. An email was sent by licensing to all interested parties and the ward member on behalf of the applicant addressing the issues raised. The email also contained the conditions requested by the police and environmental protection, and this email can be found at Appendix 4. Following this email, one of the interested parties and the ward member withdrew their representation. One of the original interested party did not respond, and Respect Weymouth said that their concerns hadn't been alleviated, and their representations can be found at Appendix 5. Respect Weymouth also emailed a response to the points that the applicant had addressed, and their email can be found at Appendix 6. Licensing has asked the chairman of Respect Weymouth to provide the names and email addresses of the 4 committee members. Licensing contacted the members to confirm that they were in agreement with the comments made in the representation and were happy that Mr Shearing represents them under the Respect Weymouth group at this meeting. 3 members responded to say they were and 1 did not reply. Weymouth Town Council also responded and to the application, and they had no objections to it. The options that are available to the subcommittee after they have considered all the information contained in the report, the written representations and anything that is said at this hearing are to grant the licence subject to conditions as the authority considered appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives and the mandatory conditions, to exclude from the scope of the licence any of the licensable activities to which the application relates, to refuse to specify a person in the licence as a designated premises supervisor, or to reject the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the licensing officer? No, thank you. So we're going on to the applicant. The applicant will be invited to ask questions of the licensing officer, followed by the objector. Please.
No, we're absolutely fine, thank you. Everything makes sense.
What's his called? What's his name?
Sorry.
Mr Shearing, has he any questions?
Yes, Mr Shearing, yeah. The objector, Mr Shearing, you're the objector, yes? Have you got any questions for the officer?
It's just a general question. Could you clarify whether considerations such as economic growth or light touch can override the need to adequately provide or promote the licensing objectives, or whether the licensing objectives remain the primary consideration when determining applications?
The licence objectives are the primary concern. That's what they're there for. They are to cover those 4 areas.
We understand that the premises is being treated as a low risk, but it does bring potential for new additional impact in a cumulative impact area. Would you agree that these should still be capable of being assessed and, if necessary, mitigated, given that it's in the CIA?
I don't really understand. What was the question?
I think what I'm trying to ask is there's no rebuttable presumption of refusal. So there are new additions of some impacts in the area. So would it still be reasonable to expect those to be mitigated, even though it's not rebuttable?
Because it's in the CIZ? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Yeah, with the community impact area, it does say that mainly premises that will go up to midnight probably won't be considered a risk anyway. So as this premises is up to midnight.
Okay, thank you. Now, can the applicant present their case, please?
I've prepared a written statement just to aid me in my execution of getting our points across. So good afternoon, Chair and members of the panel, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. We are applying for a premises licence for the Flipside. That's the name of the venue, located on 4/8 St Edmund Street, Weymouth. The Flipside is a licensed listening cafe centred around quality coffee, light refreshments, and carefully curated music played exclusively on vinyl records. This is a new and distinctive concept for the local area, offering something different in both character and operation from existing cafes and licensed premises. During the daytime and into the evening, the Flipside will operate as a relaxed, inclusive and family-friendly licensed cafe serving specialty coffee, refreshments and light food. Music will be played exclusively on vinyl through a high-quality sound system selected for clarity, balance and warmth rather than volume. There will be a weekly music menu on display, clearly showing what will be played and when. For example, Beatles and Beach Boys Saturday mornings, Female Legends, and Soundtrack Sundays. The concept is to play albums in their entirety, from start to finish, as they were intended, no shuffle, offering a considered analog alternative to the algorithm-led digital music that dominates everyday life. We are applying for sale of alcohol until midnight. Licensing until midnight gives us flexibility to manage the end of evening responsibly, avoiding sudden cut-offs and helping ensure customers disperse gradually, steadily and quietly. The space will be designed and laid out, encouraging sitting, lounging and relaxation rather than vertical drinking. Late evening opening is not planned every day, and in practice will focus on the end of the week, namely Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays, with flexibility built in to respond to customer demand as the business develops. We have no intention to trade beyond the applied hours. No plan for seasonal variation other than New Year's Eve, or other use, and no plan for, or use of TENS licenses in order to increase these licensed hours. Regardless of trading patterns, though, the atmosphere of the premises will remain controlled, predominantly seated and well managed throughout all opening hours. The alcoholic drinks offering will be limited and carefully considered, designed to complement the cafe-led nature of the venue rather than drive high-intensity alcohol consumption. The overall character of the premises will be shaped by its music, its cafe culture, and attentive management rather than by alcohol-led trade. On occasion, the venue may host live music, such as acoustic or piano sessions, appropriate to the scale and character of the space. These will be controlled, respectful, and will also help support local live music, also help promote the local live music scene. From the outset, we have taken proactive and responsible approach to this application. The majority of the license conditions were proposed by us and reflect how we intend to operate the premises in practice. These include a robust Challenge 25 and 25 policy and comprehensive staff training, a comprehensive CCTV system and coverage, incident and refusal logging, a written drugs policy, risk assessments for door supervision, a clear disposal policy to minimise risk disruption to neighbouring properties. We are very mindful of the 4 licensing objectives. The prevention of public nuisance will be supported through controlled music levels, managed entry and discouragement of loitering outside the premises, and gradual customer dispersal. Crime and disorder will be mitigated through active management, staff training, and the agreed licence conditions and operating controls. Public safety and protection of children from harm remain central to how the premises operates, particularly during daytime and early evening hours. Our intention is to introduce a well-managed and thoughtfully run independent venue that adds variety to the local offer, supports both daytime and evening economy, and provides a considered alternative to more traditional cafes and licensed premises. We are fully committed to complying with the licence and its conditions, being proactive in addressing any issues that may arise, and being respectful, responsible, and long-term neighbours within the community. Thank you for your time, and we are happy to answer any questions the panel may have.
Thank you. Seems like an interesting concept. Do I take it that the idea is that you go in to listen to music and have a drink, rather than you have a drink and there's music on? It's the priority. The music will be prioritised over just alcohol.
Indeed, as I say, as we mentioned, it's going to be a day cafe culture led idea, and yes, the alcoholic and the drink side of it is a secondary concern to the main operation, which is the food element and the cafe culture. We already own and operate a licensed premises, a well-respected licensed premises, which we have done for the last 13 years in Weymouth, and that has a drink-led and late-night consideration, which we are not looking to replicate. We're looking to do something which is arguably reflective on where we are within our careers, and that is we want to both move away from the late night. And as I say, our pre-existing business has now found its legs, and we have a full management team in place, which will hopefully aid in the transition for us into an area of the trade such as daytimes and more family orientated, which reflects where we kind of are in our lives.
It's chasing the red button round, isn't it? I think you've nearly answered what I was going to ask, because you moved into it there, because in your presentation you didn't actually tell us anything about your experience in the licensed trade. So you've told us you already have a premise that you've been running for 13 years. So just tell us a little bit more about that. And you're keeping that premise with management in and hoping to move into quite a slightly quieter lifestyle yourselves, I assume.
So it's called The Nook, and it's on Weymouth Seafront, and it's a cocktail bar and lounge. It has a big outside seating area and is well supported by locals and holidaymakers alike. It's within walking distance of the flip side. It's just on the other side of town, so it will allow us to be able to move between the two. So we mainly overmanage the Nook these days anyway. We're not what you can call potentially frontline staff members. My wife fills in on the bar at busy times. I DJ, but we're very much back-of-house owners, and we do have a full management team in place, which we have done for a number of years now. So yes, the plan won't be to move away from that business. It will be to look to overmanage the two at the same time, but with the ability in the early stages of the new venture, be able to maybe stack more time and efforts into that venue so it gets it off the ground. So probably arguably overstaff and call in some favours from some ex-staff members to come and help within that transition period. So yes, as you mentioned, I've been DPS and owner manager alongside my wife of the Nook since 2012. So for the last 13 years, or we're going into our 14th year. Prior to that, I was management. I was the general manager and licensee of a bar which was called, or a pub, a family bar called the New Vic, which was on the seafront, which was owned by the King's Hotel Group. And I was there from 2007. So my kind of position as a licensed manager / owner for the latter years has been in the town for the last 18 years. Prior to that, I come from a background of like various bars and pubs from pub chains, Marsden's and Eldridge Pope, which was where I did most of my time before it was sold on across the country. Hence my application shows that my personal license was granted in Southampton, but I grew up in Weymouth and moved back for my New Vic job. So as I say, 18 years of licensee in Weymouth with got a list of questions, but we've never had any enforcements or any issues. We've always been well respected, and we've never had any problems within those roles. And and my wife has a own background in hospitality, coming from London.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. We have a current business, the Nook Cocktail Club. It's very busy. It's well supported. Without sounding arrogant, I don't think you get to trade for that amount of time, 13 years, and not be well supported by the community. We have it's not just transactional, we're so invested in our customers and their experience. And we love it, and we want to continue doing it. We haven't ever done anything else. Gareth's always been in hospitality. I've been in hospitality since I was 17. And we're really excited about the possibility of a new venture. We're looking forward to spending our latter years. We're both mid-40s now. When we first started the Nook, we were a lot younger, and we've got a 9-year-old now. So we're looking forward to. We think there's a real gap in the community for something like this. When we go out with our son, and we're looking for something that's a little bit more experience-led, where we can go and grab a coffee, or even move on to a glass of wine and have some cake. There's not really. It's a lot of chains that feel like independents. There's not a lot of experience-led. I don't think there's anything like this in the local area where you can go together. I could go with my mum, for example, and feel like we're actually experiencing something and doing something together that doesn't cost the earth. We're really committed to the idea. We're really invested, and it's hopefully that statement just explains a little bit more about it. We've got a massive vinyl collection. We've got a very broad kind of taste in music. I like jazz. We like 70s bands. We like Britpop. We love, we like a lot of like low tempo electronica. I think a bit of Dark Side of the Moon. So we're really interested in seeing just sharing that. We notice a lot of people on their phones in the bar looking down. They're not really talking. And we're not saying we're going to change that, but we are kind of excited about the prospect of people having something to talk about in a new and exciting place. So we've got a lot of experience, and we're ready to go. We're super committed. Thank you.
Sorry, just a final point. Based upon that, this has been carefully considered. We always say that in our early years, when we took on the Nook, we had nothing to lose. We were both coming from management jobs, which we could have just resumed, arguably, in a different setting if the Nook hadn't worked. But 13 years in, and a mortgage, and a child, and a lifestyle, and a lot of people relying on us. We have 15 staff at our current bar. We have lots to lose, and we have looked a lot at different opportunities, and as often as not, they've been the wrong opportunities, but we have finally arrived at a point where we have found something which we really think has got legs and will work, and we could do something different, and
Bring a new thing.
indeed.
Just got a couple of questions for you. How many people does it seat, your new place?
So as it stands, the premises is just a shell at the moment. So the exact capacity will be in line with fire and safety guidelines, which will be risk assessed and monitored by staff at all times. Because the venue will be predominantly seated, capacity is naturally going to be self-limiting and easier to control than vertical drinking venues. So we will also implement a wait to be seated policy at busy times. So we've already bought the bollard, which says, please wait here to be seated. So it's not going to be a matter of cramming as many people in as possible. There will be there'll be tables and seats, and it will be set out by the time we go operational. But as I say, at this point, we can't give an exact number, but there'll be controls. It will be in line with what fire safety suggests. But we imagine our plan. It will be under capacity, which will always give us that space that if we were to go beyond what we currently normally do, it will be well within safety limits.
Thanks. That's what I was getting at, that it was going to be mainly seated. I presume you can control the noise level by what music you play late at night. Like, I wouldn't expect you to be playing Black Sabbath or Pink Floyd at 10:30 at night. You know, presumably you'll be playing something quieter then.
Yeah, the intentions will be everything, that final hour will be wind down. So we will look to anything based, if even potential for something live, will always be done in prior to the 11 o'clock cutoff. So yes, we already have that process in our current business where it's at like that last track of the night, you're having a snog with a loved one or whatever, and a slow dance, and the last hour is kind of the night will progressively be working always with closing time in mind. So yeah, I don't know about Black Sabbath even at 6 o'clock in the evening, but yes, that latter part of the night will always be a consideration that people are going to be kind of winding it down. And yeah, there's certain types of music you can play which no one's going to want to have a punch up for. We've realised that. There's just just slowly and discreetly chilling things out as the night goes on. Do you want to?
Yeah, I think just to go on a little bit from that, I think to socially engineer the tone of kind of how you'd like, you know, everything to feel and how you'd like guests to behave, you know, the encouraging, the lounging and the talking point around music. You've got to engineer the space. And that's why we're focusing on seating at tables, 2 sofas in the windows. There's going to be no ledges. There isn't a bar area per se, you know, with stools or anything like that. It is the cafe counter, which will have a service area for drinks. We're going to be, you know, limited with what type of drinks we can do and how many types of drinks we can do. But yeah, just back on the music. There is that natural wind down. We already have that in a busy, more sort of vertical sort of led venue, but definitely going to be winding down. And I imagine the tone as a whole is going to be the music selection. We're going to go off on certain tangents, pushing people's like boundaries, but it's definitely the tone is going to be, you know, very chilled out, relaxed, talking point music.
And as mentioned, the music will be curated, so it's not going to be random. So as you can see, we viewed it with venues you go into when systems are on shuffle, where sometimes the most inappropriate thing might come on, even at the busy times, a slow track, which is totally inappropriate for the vibe at that time. But the business model for this is it being curated. So we will have that ability to say 11 o'clock. We're not accidentally going to put on something upbeat. We will have that will be pre-planned for the week, and we will know that at that time of the evening it will be relaxed.
I had some really good questions, and you've just answered them all, really. Will the evening be of a sort of theme? I mean, you're not going to go for thrash metal or anything like that. So you'll be trying to introduce people into new music that they may not, well, may be new to them, but they may not be accustomed to, yeah?
So the listening bar / listening cafe business model isn't a new concept. It's new to Weymouth and the surrounding areas, but it isn't new. And there are definitely models, maybe in London and the more cool area. I'm not saying Weymouth's not cool, but where they do try to be a bit too cool for school. But we are very much looking to bring the music to the masses. So our basis, we have a massive music collection regardless, but we've been starting to pad it out, and that's very much been based upon the Rolling Stone magazine's top 500 albums. So it's all going to be, it's going to be well known. So we are going to go niche and try to educate and bring new things to the table, but at the same time it's going to be mostly stuff which is just the most popular stuff, and people will recognize a lot of it. So it
just isn't the baseline in anything, is that?
It's not going to be dance bass heavy music. It's going to be, as I say, indeed, no, it's like I like it. Just last week I bought six Beatles albums, on which I had some from my mother when I was younger, but they were a bit too crackly for this setting. So we're padding out areas like that. But as I say, it's not going to be dance music led. It's not going to be heavy bass line led. But there will be a eclectic mix. But yes, it's going to be there'll be times maybe where we move across and do something a little bit more rocky, but if that's required, but that we'll make sure that's the time that is played, and obviously levels will be appropriate for the type of music.
Thank you. It sounds very much like the sort of thing I'm trying to introduce my grandchildren to. But yes, so interesting concept. And when you have live music, you're going to be at local bands, presumably? And what sort of band will you be looking for that?
So our two main ideas, again, the live music scene and the DJ scene in Weymouth is an area of the licensed trade which we're going to be thankfully leaving behind. We have enough of that in our current venue, and that's one of the areas which we really don't want to replicate in this new venue. But we do have potential provisions for live, but that live music will be acoustic, so it will not be driven music. It will be very much, think solo guitarists playing chilled out music, no drum kits, just no amplified music really, just more acoustic. And have also an idea for some piano music as well, where we will have some background and potential join-in style piano music, which will be played on a stand-up piano, but again, upright stand-up piano, but unamplified again. So yes, there will be, it's not the main business model, but we are considering that there could be space for some live music, but it will be on the acoustic, chilled out side of music rather than the full band rocky side of things.
Thank you. So no amplifiers turned up to 11 then. Okay, great. Any other questions from the... No? Any questions from the licensing officer, please?
No, thank you, Chair.
Now, could I ask the objector to say his piece, please?
I think that was like super reassuring to hear, if I'm honest. And a lot of the issues that have been discussed by the group and raised by the group in terms of fears and concerns around heavily based music, live bands with drummers that, you know, find it very difficult to play at background levels. I think restriction of tens, which was a concern. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think you've probably allayed 90% of the issues that I was going to present. I do have a question that I could raise that would help us move forward, but it feels like I'm in a different place with the group now, dynamically, and I'll move along with that when it becomes my turn to present. On off, isn't it? A question that I have for the applicant is, do you see the need to manage music levels formally, or do you see your business model always operating around and about at background levels, listening, talking cafe and bar, not repeating, like the other venues? So how do you know if something is too loud or not too loud, or how do you know?
With kind of past experience, lots of past experience, we always feel the best way to manage volume in general is physically. So a walk around. So we often take a customer journey, as it would be at our current premises, and walk from the other side of the road often in through the front door, and to monitor in real time what volumes alongside other elements such as lighting and comfort factor, lots of elements of the business. So yeah, we would look to just be the business model, as you've suggested, you already can see, is not promoting the potential loud music element of a licensed premises, but we at times where there could see things being a little more elevated, such as maybe overzealous customers singing along, or that sometimes there is a danger as the room volume rises, the music volume will rise in line with that. We will be in constant monitoring that volume, and that will be by us, but also by trained staff members. So there'll never be a time where there'll be just normal young. I wouldn't say young's not the right descriptive, but there will always be a responsible adult, maybe on the premises, making a responsible manager on the premises, making sure that all our policies and conditions are being adhered to, and we do take the disturbance, the disturbance policy as very seriously. So even though we don't maybe have a formal license condition which refers to the noise management, we believe that the 4 licensing objectives cover that regardless. And yes, we will take the volumes very seriously. And as a side note, as I've already stated, this is a big move for us, making a move into a secondary venue, and we are fully aware that you'll come down heavily upon us if we don't do as we say we're going to do, and we're not willing to take that risk, and we're not looking to scratch an itch. We know that some places, we've seen other new venues who say they're going to do one thing, but all they really want is DJs and dance floors and that grandeur. And we have that. We have the dance floor, we have the loud music, we have that style of clubby venue, and this is just not that. This is the opposite. We're looking to, go with that different end of the trade, and
Yes. Actually, Mr. Shewing, would you like anything else you'd like to say at all? Really, you intimated that there was something you might be holding back. Anything you've got to say?
I'll ask another question of the applicants, if I may. It's really encouraging and reassuring to hear how seriously you take management of the music and everything else that you're doing. And it feels to me like residents, sometimes they need that reassurance and that clarity that there is a condition, for example, that talks about noise management, and you haven't got one at the moment. What you talked about just a second ago really felt like the principles of a very simple noise management plan. You know what you want to do. You know what levels you want to set. You know that you're not going to do certain types of music after 11 p.m. You're going to walk around. You're going to. I guess what I'm trying to say is you're already intent and intimating that you're doing noise management. And would you be willing to have a condition that just says, in very simple terms, that we will be satisfied to have some sort of noise management plan, and it can be very flexible, very simple, not cost prohibitive, something that I guess that residents and other people can rely on, and to give clarity without just relying on your intent and goodwill, which is commendable, I have to say.
Yeah, I agree. I can see what angle you're coming from there, but I believe that it isn't just my intent and goodwill. I expect all these things. The licensing process isn't written in blood, the conditions, and once we've got it, it isn't there for good. We're fully aware that the whole process is fluid. From the moment we hopefully get granted this license, we know that at any point we can be taken to review if we are operating outside the 4 licensing objectives. So on this case, I feel that we have offered up enough, paired with our experience and proven track record as operators, that what we say we're going to do, we're going to do. And we, as I say, we fully expect to be held accountable if we don't do that. So I feel that the conditions which we have offered up and has been agreed is robust. And yes, I think we've said enough, and I don't feel that at this stage there's any necessity to add anything else. It could be something which if we are proven to be not operating as promised, could be added further down the line. But I think that would be something which maybe would be necessary if we get taken to review. But I think at this stage, I feel that we've got enough behind us to show our intent, and I feel that some of it needs to be. I think we deserve to be trusted in this, and given what we're asking for.
Would I be right in saying that it seems to me you got your clientele, people, your target audience, they're lined up, and you know that if someone wants to play loud music, it's likely to drive those people away. So you're not going to do that because that's not the audience you're looking for. You don't want to compete with the other places, the DJs and whatnot.
Indeed, there is that area of hospitality is well taken care of in Weymouth, and we don't. That's not in the same street. Even there's a live music venue across the road from our intended licensed premises which is open till 2 a.m. and has live bands often starting at midnight, which we'll be tucking ourselves up at that point. So yes, the business model is filling a gap for it's a listening cafe. It's more considered listening. So and as I say, that the sound system is the highest quality, and it's designed to hear a pin drop rather than make your ears burn, and it's designed for music quality and really listening rather than. So yes, it will be probably higher volume than your average background music because it's there it's part of the environment, but at the same time it's considered rather than being a byproduct. It's yeah. But yeah. Sorry, yeah, definitely do not have any interest in that area of the sector.
So it'd be counterproductive to you to make too much noise, etc. Anyway, because you would just be driving away your people. Yeah.
Completely, as previously stated, a gamble isn't the right descriptive for this because it's not a gamble, but we've got far too much on the line to come into this and go against the license objectives. As I say, we've operated for 13 years plus in our current venue, and we've followed the licensing objectives, and that has led us to having a very successful business which is well supported, and we have a great relationship with the authorities. We are members of the Pub Watch. I'm a committee member of Pub Watch in Weymouth. We also have scheduled regular meetings with Dorset Police Licensing, not based upon any problems, but more proactive discussions, talking and just keeping those lines of communication open, being proactive rather than reactive. So as I said, and those lines of communication will just now be part of this. They're already there. So we will just the meeting will be split in two, and we will talk about both venues going forward. And as I say, we are keen to address any potential problems, and our plan is for longevity, and I'm sure that's part of why the landlord has chosen us as I say, there's lots of hospitality led businesses have attempted to take this lease, and he's always veered away from it, but he's been drawn to us, I'm sure, again, as age and our experience and our business model, and he's looking for long-term tenants who don't cause him any trouble and pay on time, and that's what we're going to be. We're not going to cause it. We don't want any trouble. We just want to go in, create a successful business, and be an asset to the town.
Okay, thank you for that. Does the licensing officer have any questions, please?
No questions for me. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Sherwin, would you like to sum up your standpoint now? Somewhat revised, I should think.
As I intimated earlier, I came in with representation from the group with concerns in a number of areas that were presented in the representation. And we haven't really had the opportunity to, I guess, explore in such a depth as we've had today and as has been presented by the applicants. I think the way that it feels at the moment is, so obviously I represent the group. I'm here representing their views. And with that, I also have the authority within that group to fluidly deal with how this hearing is coming through. So I just wanted to be very clear, regardless of whatever was raised from the applicants, we always supported the grant of this application. We weren't objecting to the grant of the application. We support the need for economic growth in a building unit that has been empty for some time. We support the applicants, and we support the venue and the business model in principle. It offers something new and fresh and we recognise the positive role that well-run hospitality has in this area. And as demonstrated today, we can only welcome the intent of the applicants and hope to build a really constructive relationship towards the ongoing management of a venue in that area. There is no doubt that the area we're talking about is a cumulative impact area. It's in a crime hotspot. It's lively. So residents in that area were quite rightly concerned with a new bar and a new licensed premises coming in. They were fearful because the ground truth is it's quite tricky to live there, and to have a license where the conditions don't feel safeguarding enough makes people feel nervous. I think what today has done, and I'm quite pleased to say actually, that it has reassured me as chair of the group that the approach and the business model that's going forward is not presenting the risk that we perceived. So the conditions that I was going to ask for and have asked for through the representation, I don't think are necessary. There are two areas that I would like some clarity on, following up from the applicant's presentation, not from the applicant, one from the police and one from environmental health regarding existing conditions, just so that I can have some clarity around those. But my position now is if the police can confirm the uncertainty that we have around one condition, and if the same happens with environmental health condition around noise barriers, which is limiting things to live music, then actually we have nothing further to add. And we would like to support this application fully, because the presentation from the applicants has diluted all the issues and concerns that have been raised by residents. And I see no point in going through all of that and dragging that all up when the applicants have presented such a intentful, professional, considerate case.
Well, thank you for that. Well, we seem to have achieved something today then. So my only concern is the fact that you're so far from where I live. But yes, other than that, would you like to sum up? Is there anything else you wish to say?
Should ask if the applicant wants to ask any questions of Mr. Shearing.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Oh, okay. Any questions for Mr. Shearing? I'd just like to, could I just take an opportunity to thank Mr. Shearing for his kind comments, and also can just put ourselves in a place of understanding where he was coming from with maybe the lack of clarity in our application of the actual business model. It didn't seem like there was a huge amount of ability to clearly state our business plan in the application process. The application process was more centered around what we were looking for in regards to the brass tacks of what it was, rather than being able to clearly set out. So it's relieving but understandable that Mr. Shearing has been able to change his stance based upon us being able to give a better, more in-depth version of what we're planning to do. So and yes, our door is always open. We are going to be physically there. I'm happy we've already exchanged lines of communication, because me and Mr. Shearing did meet for a 2.5-hour meeting prior to during the initial process. So yeah, we're always here, and we'd be more than willing to discuss, and we would much prefer to get things sorted rather than ever having to escalate beyond just a friendly conversation.
Oh,
I apologise. I have a final, just a concluding statement, but is that time for that now? Or okay, so we just to conclude.
I think we haven't reached the summing up stage yet. I think we've had questions from the applicant for Mr. Shearing. I don't know whether you want to ask the licensing officer if she wants to ask any questions. And then after that, you can go into summing up.
Would you like to sum up, please, licensing?
I have no questions, thank you, no.
Yeah. Mr. Shearing, have you said all you wish to say, or is there something else?
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I need to say anything else regarding the applicant's position. We did have just a couple of concerns around two conditions. One is the environmental health condition, which refers to live music only, and I wanted to just try and get some clarification around that. And the other was to try and seek some clarification around the risk assessment and the period of 6 months, which I was a little bit unsure about. So I don't know, will I have the opportunity to raise that with the police and license and environmental health?
Could you respond to that, please?
I'm terribly sorry, I was looking up the condition. Could you ask the question again?
So there's a condition that talks about doors and windows being closed after 1100, I think, or whether it's, I don't know whether there's a time frame on it. The point I want to raise is that it just talks about for live music, and obviously this venue is probably more about recorded music and vinyl, not live music. So did it fit, and is that condition enforceable if there were an issue with recorded music?
So the condition on page 31, if you want to view it, is that live music, when live music takes place inside the premises, the fixed inner porch door and the windows will be kept shut, maintaining a physical barrier to music and the outside. Live music, as the applicant has previously spoken about, also talks about drums and the like, which can't have the means of, it's a little bit more difficult to control the volume on those instruments that don't go through amplification. You've already clarified that that's not the type of music that you intend to have. Clearly, that wasn't conveyed as we were trying to put these together. But it's up to the committee whether they wish to change it to just when music takes place rather than live music. I think it's fair to say the fixed inner porch door will happen anyway, because clearly you want to contain what's happening in your venue. Whether they keep the windows shut during all music or just live music will depend on the committee's decision-making process.
Thank you very much. Would you like to respond?
Sorry.
Yes, as stated, I agree that maybe if you had a more in-depth idea of what we'd meant by live music, as in played music rather than recorded music, there arguably wouldn't have been a necessity to have had that condition, because live music doesn't necessarily mean loud music, and recorded music doesn't necessarily mean quiet music. But we feel that we will be whatever music, be it live or recorded, we will be continuously monitoring it. And if there is a situation where those inner doors need to be shut, they will be. Our consideration mainly is more to have those doors probably open during summer daytime hours to help give ventilation. And I'm assuming those daytime hours, because the front windows are fixed. There's no other openable things in the front of the building other than those inner doors. So I think our plan will be naturally that during the daytime hours, those inner doors maybe will be open for ventilation purposes, and naturally the music volume, be it live or recorded, will be on the lower level, and it will probably be in the evenings when the nighttime chill starts to come in, even in the summer months, that those doors will probably be closed because we won't be so reliant on the ventilation. But equally, evenings would be when we'd perceive maybe the volume would go up a little bit. But yes, it will just, I don't imagine it will be something which will be constantly monitored. And yes, it doesn't necessarily, we are happy with that license condition based upon live music as a standard. Those doors will be closed. But yeah, I think for music in general, it will be monitored and closed accordingly.
Thank you. Was it right? Would I be right in thinking that you will have music on all the time anyway? So it's not as if you better close the windows. We're going to put some music on because your whole idea is to have music playing in all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, arguably that suggestion of any music would mean those doors would be kept permanently closed because yes, as you say, there's the business model is the music, and without the music, we won't be open at any time without there being some level of soundtrack to the day. So yes, the request would require those doors to be closed permanently.
Environmental health, please.
Sorry to interrupt you. As my licensing colleague would probably do, I would remind you that the conditions only occur after 2300 hours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
As mad as this might sound, if it would make the panel happy, I would be happy to add a condition to the license to say between the hours or post 11 p.m, those doors will be kept closed. That would be, I anticipate that would be the situation regardless, but if that wanted to be noted, I'm more than happy for that to become part of the conditions that between the hours of 11 and 12 o'clock, that inner door will always be closed.
Thank you for that.
Can I just make one point? It might be a little bit irrelevant, but one of the beautiful things about this concept and having the record is, I think, the average sort of side of maximum side I've come across is about 40 minutes. And it's kind of that tangible element where you're going over and you're having to flip a record or change it. You're taking stock of the volume at regular intervals anyway. And it's something I think it's something. When you say you're going to be ongoingly monitoring something, we really are. There's going to be team members, management, us having to go over at regular intervals to flip the record, putting something on at 11. I think our playlist is going to start around 10 or 11. And yeah, it's a tangible thing, flipping a record, changing a record, taking the needle off, putting something different on. You're going to be looking at those levels, taking stock of the atmosphere, taking stock of what's happening, and constantly it's going to be via osmosis. I think that you're going to be, looking at how everything is sounding and behaviours and what everything's looking like.
Yes, Mr. Turing. Yep.
As Environmental Health have said, there already is a condition that's agreed to ensure that doors are closed after 2300 when the Live Music Act ends. The only thing we're raising here, and we support everything that's being said, is that at the moment that condition is limited to live music. When live music is being played, the doors should be closed. What we're suggesting is that the business model isn't just about live music, so the wording of that needs to be wider, as environmental health suggested might be reasonable.
That doesn't seem like a big ask, really. Can I ask the licensing officer to sum up, please? Have we got nothing else more to say? You're happy? Would you like to sum up, please?
So to conclude, we believe this is a modest, well-considered application for the premises that is cafe-led, majority seated and carefully managed. Our requested hours for outside of the cumulative impact zone times for the area, operating within policy and proposing conditions that exceed minimum expectations. Sorry. Yeah, this. Yeah. The area already supports a range of late night venues that many operating until 2 a.m. beyond. We look to offer a controlled alternative that adds variety rather than extra pressure to the local economy. Thank you.
Can I ask the legal advisor, please?
Chair, I think you've got to the point of asking the licensing officer if she wants to sum up.
Nothing further to add, but just to remind you about the condition with live and recorded music will only take effect from 2300 hours, so it's both live and recorded music.
Thank you. And
Yep, so I think you've covered everything apart from your final comments.
okay. Where we go from here is we will retire and make our decision, and you'll be told by email within 5 days that what that decision is. If you don't like the decision, you do have the option to appeal. But yes, so within 5 days we'll let you know, and I hope you've said everything you needed to say, and you're happy with that you've got a fair hearing. Okay, so if there's nothing, sorry.
Just to confirm, Chairman, I think that that right to appeal is 21 days, isn't it? It's not 5 days, just to confirm that.
5 days is for the email.
5 days is for the email. Yeah.
Okay, so if everyone's happy with that, thank you very much. I'll close the meeting. Thank you.